For me at least, a 1-star review means this writing is not worth the paper it is printed on. I am morally against banning books, but this book might make me consider it. If this book was on fire in front of me and I had a bucket of water by my side, I wouldn't save it. I would do the ice bucket challenge. A 1-star review is like, I wouldn't even wipe my backside with these pages. They're not even worth it. Now, all of this being said, some of you lack grace and decorum. And I want to call you out for it. Because some of you are dishing out these 1-star reviews like Oprah was giving out gift cards back in the day. Some of you must have nowhere to hold your bank cards because you are out of pocket. As a result of all of this, Goodreads is one of the most feral places on the whole internet, on the World Wide Web. That is a wave I am terrified of surfing. And so I find that Goodreads is like a very fun place sometimes, but at other times, hell on earth. Some of these reviews are insane. And so today I wanted to react to them, and I thought what I would do is react to 1-star reviews of some of my favorite books I have rated 5 stars. These are books that I love more than I think I will love my own children. These are books that mean so much to me, and I feel like feelings might get hurt. Let's shuffle over. Why don't we start with Normal People by Sally Rooney? Because I already feel like I know what people are gonna say here. I feel like people are gonna say, if they had just communicated, this book would be 10 pages long. And yeah, that's the point. People miscommunicate. I fear some people who review this book may have missed the point. Like, the point is over here. You're in a different postcode, mate. Anyway, let's see what people have to say. Normal People. This video is gonna make me sad, isn't it? This person says, the writing was plainer than brown paper. That sounds like a Lana Del Rey lyric. I mean, in fairness, if you're gonna trash talk a book, at least make it poetic. That was quite nice. The psychologies were moderately inconsistent, and the minutiae was so utterly unnecessary. This is giving, I just got a thesaurus for Christmas and I'm going to use it. I felt like a masochist wanting to finish this, and I did. I'm glad it's finito. You're glad it's finito? I thought it was bonito.
I feel bonita.
Also, they said, no matter how many people urge me to read the sequel, I will decline and wish the best for both Connell and Marianne. Where is the sequel? That's a sequel I would like to read. Where is that? JD somehow knows about a sequel of Normal People that doesn't exist. This book taught me a very important lesson. When my brain tells me not to finish a book midway, I should fucking listen. Easily one of the worst books I've ever read. That's rough. If you are planning on reading this book, let me put you out of your misery. The entire book is Connell and Marianne going from, I want to be with you, I don't want to be with you, let's have sex. I didn't say exactly what I meant 2 months ago, this is what I meant, more I want to be with you, repeat 10 times. That sounds really good to me. I am president of the Sally Rooney Defense Squad. This person just said, thank God it's finally over. Meanwhile, I didn't want this to end. You know what, I'm over reading these reviews. Next one, let's do Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This person says, for once I'm going to follow one of my mother's favorite admonitions. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. It's true. You know, when I was born, the #1 song in the UK was Ronan Keating's song, You Say It Best When You Say Nothing at All. And my mum says she used to just listen to that song and cry, like rocking me as a child, sobbing, because she was like, this little thing can't say anything at all, but I know exactly what it needs. So she's like, you do say it best when you say nothing at all. And I think that she still holds that sentiment 25 years later. Like, she probably wishes I'd say less. Oh, sorry, I just woke up. I fell asleep because this book is a snooze fest. If this is a snooze fest, I want weekend passes. I want a season ticket. I want a wristband for that festival. That is the festival of the summer. Forget Glastonbury, forget Coachella. Picture of Dorian Gray is the festival I want to attend. That's Oscar Wilde is my headliner. Ooh, a review in French. This one says, Je bandonne, which means it sounds so much nicer when you say it with a French accent. What a nice way to say, I hated this book, I didn't even want to finish it. This proves that all men do in those days is be misogynists and wrinkle. Some things never change. Dorian's pretty hot, I guess. That is ultimately, I guess, the SparkNote summary of this book. Listen, I'm trying very, very hard to be the hot girly that reads classics for fun, alright? Believe me, I'm trying. So what's a better book to start a hot girl's book club with than Picture of Dorian Gray? There's none. And I have to admit, traveling with this book and reading it in public, I had felt like the hottest, cleverest, coolest, girly. This is making me think of that TikTok of the guy who's sitting in public reading Emily Ratajkowski's autobiography, and he's kind of like not turning the page, he's just sort of showing people walking past him. Or there was this one guy who was doing thirst traps with Colleen Hoover books. And I think the whole internet sighed, a collective sigh, like maybe we do miss when all men did was go to war and die. Well, that was until I've read the first 50 pages and realized that this book is headbanging on something very sturdy, enjoyable. That's rough. I get it. It has beautiful lines, but also very, and I mean very, dragging plot. They've got a whole chapter for describing rocks. How thought-provoking. Sign me up. Well, isn't that funny that the picture of Dorian Gray and Everything Everywhere All at Once have that in common? Overall, I guess I'm no longer a member of the Hot Girls Club. I'm sorry, it's exclusive access. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I already know people are gonna say this one was boring, but it has such good twists. The less you know going into this book, the better. I think this book is incredible and so fascinating, but I rarely write bad reviews. Okay, I have to say that is compelling to me, because if someone is a professional hater, like they have chronic hateritis and everything they say is negative, I'm gonna take what you say with like a whole ocean's worth of salt. I'm not just taking your review with a little grain of salt, I'm taking it with a Himalayan salt lamp. But when someone says I rarely write bad reviews, oh, I'm sad.
Sit back down.
I'm sad.
I'm like, what made you so mad that you broke your rule? You made an exception to your rule of not writing bad reviews to specifically hate on this one. This was one of the most boring and repetitive books I've ever read. Halls, vestibules, statues, albatross, halls, vestibules, statues, albatross. It's kind of got a ring to it. Where's Jack Antonoff to produce a beat to this when you need him? And blah, blah, blah. So goddamn boring, tedious, and overhyped. This is the kind of book that puts me in a slump. I understand I'm in the minority here. Most people have given this 5 stars. God knows why. It's me. I gave this book 5 stars. I thought it was I love the way it built up to its kind of big reveal. It's slow, it's haunting, but I think that's what makes it so good. But anyway, this review says, I can't help it. I need a plot and something to hold on to. It slipped through my fingers into the 43rd vestibule to the right of a statue covered in seaweed. LOL. I get it. Reading Piranesi is like having a lobotomy by reading. It's so weird that I kept reading for some unknown and unfortunate reason, but I didn't enjoy it even after I finally figured out what was going on. After too many repetitive and oh so boring pages, it took a while. By then, I challenged myself to finish. Could I do it? Characters were so dumb, so much nothing over and over again. Without giving away spoilers, this book wasn't for me. Or for anybody. Oof. Okay, this is a very long review, so I'm not going to read all of it, but a real highlight for me is when they say that this book felt like an endless chore, like doing the dishes, which you just have to do until you die. They say if that's what you're into, then this is the perfect book for you. Emma by Jane Austen. I'm nervous. You're making me nervous. Emma is an immature, spoiled girl who needs to get a life. I actually think that we don't use the insult get a life enough. That's so 2000s. We should bring that back. Like, get a life. It's such a read. I read books for a living, and I'll tell you, that is a read. That's a 5-star read right there. Get a life. You know what else I think is underrated? Calling someone a weirdo. It's just, it hits so deep. Like, that cuts to the bone. Straight for the jugular. You are a weirdo. Basically just a bunch of manipulative people going to each other's houses. Yeah, I don't know if you're describing this book or my childhood friends. Kidding. Moving on. This person says, thank God it's over and that they found it boring. I will say that I think Emma is actually incredibly funny. It's all about misunderstandings, miscommunication. That is a bit of a theme in the books that I like. What does that say about me? But if you're struggling with the tone and the humor of this book, I would really recommend watching the movie adaptation with Anya Taylor-Joy in it, because I think it really captures how silly this book is meant to be. I do think that sometimes people hear the word classic and they associate that with like stale and dry, when actually Emma is an incredibly funny book. And Jane Austen herself did say that she was writing Emma as a character who no one but herself would much like. And I'm seeing a lot of these reviews are saying they just really didn't like her. So it's like, well done, you actually got the point. You were so close to realizing that that's actually what was meant to happen, and maybe that's a sign of good writing, not bad writing. But anyway, someone said, this was assigned to me based on my personality? ? To be fair, that is quite insulting, I'm not gonna lie to you. The teacher eventually admitted that he had no idea what I was like and had flipped a coin to decide between this and Rabbit Run. That is such a different book. There are many differences between those two books. The main one is that John Updike doesn't make me vomit in rage. Wow. If someone ever said that my book made them vomit in rage, I'd move to another country and raise alpacas, and you would never see me again. Ick. And by ick, I mean snatching out my earbuds and throwing them across the room because I can't listen to any more of this ick. Not using the word ick to describe Emma, not the Love Islandification of Jane Austen. Damn. Before I move on to the next 1-star rating, I would like to tell you about something that I would rate 5 stars consistently every time, and that is Squarespace. And Squarespace have very kindly sponsored this video. So Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building a website or an online brand, and you don't need any coding experience, you don't need any expertise at all. You can use their incredible range of templates as the perfect starting point and build from there, so you can bring your vision of your perfect website to life. Squarespace also has really great built-in SEO tools, so you can optimize your website to be discovered by new people. Squarespace also offers your customers the opportunity to do flexible payments, and you can sell online courses using Squarespace. If this all sounds good to you, you can head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then squarespace.com/jackedwards to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. You're welcome. So thank you so much, Squarespace. And now, back to things that are gonna make me sad. Oh, not Sula. Not bad reviews of Sula by Toni Morrison. I think this is my favorite book of all time. So let's see. I feel like I'm bracing myself to be upset. Ever read a book with more words than necessary to tell the story? This is one of those books. Boring. It's one of those, I'm going to be all artsy and flowery with my words to make the book seem better than it really is. When in Toni Morrison, get behind me. Toni Morrison, I will defend you with my life. No, this is not okay. A boring plot and a poorly put together lineage. 2 people on this book are set on fire. What do you mean boring? What? There's no pleasing you people. What more do you want from her? If I wasn't required to read this for class, I'd have picked it up, read the first few pages, and put it back on the shelf to collect dust. I would, oh my god, I was gonna say the weirdest thing. I was gonna say, if this book has dust on it, I will lick that up like that little freak in Saltburn drank the bathwater. Don't test me. I feel very passionately about this book. I love Sula by Toni Morrison. I would read her shopping lists. This review just said, no me gusto. No me gusto. You ever hate a book so much it causes you to speak Spanish? It's like Buzz Lightyear when he's put into Spanish mode.
Bitácora espacial. Me he despertado del hipersueño en un planeta extraño.
You ever read a book so much that you end up resetting to factory settings and you end up prancing around speaking Spanish? No me gusto. Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. You're gonna come for Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is a Shakespeare kind of retelling. It's about the life of Shakespeare, but it never mentions Shakespeare by name. So instead it's about his wife and kids who are often forgotten or neglected by history. Let's see. What do you have to say about this book? What do you have to say about my girl Maggie? I'll keep this short, which is what Maggie should have done with Hamnet. 367 pages of disengaging and irrelevant description and dialogue. I absolutely loathed this book. Wow. So what I'm hearing is that you hate beauty, is that you hate delicacy, that you hate ornate, embellished writing, is that you hate fun. This book and I are enemies, foes, nemesis. I did not DNF it in principle to show if my loathing was justified till the end. Why does this book have everyone bringing out the word loathing? Like, damn. About the prose. Every description has at least 3 adjectives. Every feeling or smell or object description has 3 similes. Everything any character sees conjures some lyrical flashback. Where you can use 2 words to describe something, Maggie will use 25. It drove me mad, irritated, bored. I like this book, and I will defend it till my dying day. I think Maggie O'Farrell is like a master of the English language, and I will not hear otherwise. Thank you very much. Grown. Another novel with the stereotypical, magical, beautiful, but rebellious, misunderstood witch medicine woman, complete with the obligatory evil stepmother. Really? The most interesting character in this novel is a flea. Wow. Read like a 7th grader's free writing assignment? What 7th grader are you reading? If that's how you wrote in the 7th grade, you will win the Nobel Prize for Literature at some point. I'm putting that on the record. That's a crazy, crazy thing to say. Okay, let's do one more. 1984 by George Orwell. It's so bad, I want to give you a 0, but that's not possible, so I give you a 1. I'm pretty sure I burned this book. For a book that is kind of anti-censorship, that's a wild thing to say. Someone just commented, ew. This makes me think of that Bratz doll saying ew. Ew! George Orwell needs therapy badly, and I absolutely hated this book. In fairness, I think this is a taste issue because usually when an author needs therapy badly, I love it. Do I read the reviews for A Little Life? I know this is a very contentious book. I know this is a book that a lot of people get very mad about. Let's see. Brace yourself for the most melodramatic, pretentious, dull, dumb, overwritten, repetitive, laughable, cringe-inducing, self-indulgent, unbelievable, stereotypical, voyeuristic, contrived piece of fiction. Wow, they said synonym. They said, I'm gonna give you every synonym in my arsenal. And then they have the gall, the audacity, the gumption to describe the book as over the top. I guess it was meant to be ironic, but moving on. I would not recommend this book to my worst enemy. I feel sullied and manipulated. What I will say is that bad reviews have people bringing out the vocabulary. Sullied. I don't think we say sullied enough. And they also feel manipulated, not because of the subject matter itself, but because of the voyeuristic and melodramatic way it was handled by the author. Misery porn, or as Shakespeare so eloquently stated, a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. If someone insulted me using Shakespeare, I would be devastated. I'd change my government name. I would be mortified by that. So those were some 1-star reviews of my favorite books. I feel damaged. I feel wounded. I feel like a kicked puppy, kind of like quivering in the corner of the room. But thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sharing this with me. Thank you for being here. You can follow me on Goodreads if you'd like. I also write reviews. I actually have the #1 review of Prince Harry's book, where I said The Crown could have covered this in 2 episodes max. I also post my book reviews over on Instagram, on TikTok, on my second channel. Anywhere that I have an internet connection, I will be. So thank you so much for watching this video. All the best, stay in touch, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.